All right, this video is for people who want to get into tech. Maybe you don't even fully understand what tech is. If I say SaaS, you may or may not know what that is. That's totally okay. We are going to talk about the absolute foundations of what the tech industry even is and the 3 jobs that you can get in it with no coding experience, maybe even like no work experience to begin with. This has worked for servers, for new graduates, for people who work at a golf course. Like, there's no limitation to the types of people that can get into these jobs. I think the one common thing is that these are jobs that are for people who like to have conversation, who like to help other people solve problems, and yeah, for people. So what is SaaS? SaaS is software as a service. And if you're like, I don't get it, that's fine. Let's say, just to break down the service piece, like you have a company that comes and mows your lawn. You are paying them twice, they come twice a month, you pay them $100 a month. That is a service that they're performing, and you paying them monthly. You're essentially paying a subscription to that service. And so software is the same. Perfect example, Netflix. You pay them $14 a month. They provide the service of TV on demand. So that is software as a service. The greater industry, and the one that the majority of these jobs are going to fall into, though, and where the majority of big tech companies operate, is they provide services to other businesses. And so let's say you work for Greenhouse, which is a human resources management platform. You are applying to a job on LinkedIn, your application might automatically get put into their Greenhouse, and they can go through applicants there. They can look at resumes, they can move people through the job process. It is software that is used by other businesses for human resources. And so let's say I have a restaurant. I don't know. I have a restaurant. I pay a monthly subscription to Greenhouse to have access to their hiring software. And so these tech companies, Greenhouse as our example, need 2 things to continue to operate and to continue to grow. They need new customers, and they need to keep their existing customers happy. And so those are the first 2 job areas that people, again, with no experience, no coding background, like you will never have to code anything a day in your life in these jobs, but you are going to help them get new customers, which is sales, or you're going to help them keep their existing customers happy, which is service. When you look at the breakdown of the majority of tech companies, what's crazy is about 30% of their staff. So if they have 100 people that work for the company, even if they're a tech company, a super techie, high-tech company, 30% of them, at least 30%, are probably going to work in sales and service. And so, again, the first 2 jobs are sales and service. The third one that I want to add on here is if this is a growing company, they're going to need to hire for these people. Those are the third bracket, which is talent acquisition jobs. Again, if you do not need any techie skills, you don't know how to code. I worked in sales, I've worked in service, I've worked in talent acquisition. I could not code anything to save my life. So you're good. Before I get into the basic specifics of each of these types of jobs, I want to say that all of these can be remote, they can be flexible, and realistically, depending on the company that you're in 3 to 5 years, if not sooner, again, just depending on the role, you can be making over $100,000 a year. So no matter which direction you go, there isn't necessarily a right or wrong pick. It's just like the whole reason that I want to make this video is to give you a little bit more information about what each of them is, who they're potentially the right fit for, and then I'm going to have another set of videos that goes into way more depth on each specific job so that you can figure out which one potentially is the right fit for you. The other thing I would add is that you can move in, like, let's say you start in sales, you can still move into service. Let's say you start in acquisition. I know lots and lots of people who started in recruitment and talent acquisition, and they ended up moving into sales. And so it's not that you have to stick with one and commit to it forever. You can try out 1, 2, 3. Maybe you start here, but you know you want to be here. There is so much opportunity to move around between everything, especially once you have your foot in the door in tech. Sales focuses on getting new customers into the business. Entry-level job titles are going to be BDR, SDR, which means business development rep, sales development rep, business development agent. There's lots of different variations, but those are the most common ones. And so this, like getting into sales, I would say is great for people who are, number one, money motivated. If you want to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible, this is 150% the best way to do it. The average like total compensation package for somebody in their first year as a BDR, as a business development rep, is, I would say conservatively $60K total, but majority of them nowadays are 70, 80. Like I've seen people make $100,000 in their first year as a BDR. And so, if you want to make money, if that is your sole motivator, 100% this is the job for you. The pros, that is the number one pro. The another pro is that there is a extreme shortage of BDRs right now, especially decent BDRs. And if you can get your foot in the door at literally any company, get any kind of experience, you will have people knocking down your doors to hire you and to promote you and to give you more money. Like just existing on LinkedIn, you will have basically infinite opportunity available to you just by having one BDR job. Other pros, like it can be relatively clock in, clock out. It's not an overly complex job to do. The cons is that it can be competitive, it can be a little bit grindy, tedious, and there can be pressure because it is ultimately a sales job. There can be pressure involved in the job. If you're wondering what a BDR/SDR is, I'm going to explain that fully in the next video and explain like what the career trajectory of that would look like. So yeah, this is just part one, short description. There's going to be a next video for you to watch to learn more about the specifics of the job. Option 2 is customer success, customer support. And so entry-level titles would be customer support agent, customer success rep, any variant of that. These people focus on the existing customer base. And so you are going to help support them, help them solve their problems. Let's say when they first sign up, you are going to give them training and onboard them onto the platform. Let's use Netflix as an example. You understand Netflix super easily, but a lot of these softwares are more complicated. And let's say you are teaching, like you probably had to teach your 90-year-old grandma how to use Netflix. It's like that. And so you become that expert on Netflix, whether it's hard to be an expert or easy to be an expert, almost doesn't matter, but you become that Netflix expert. And then you teach the new people, new clients, how to use Netflix, training and onboarding. And then you get to have that relationship. If they have a problem, it's like your grandma calling you and saying, the remote's not working, or how do I watch this movie? Like you become their go-to person to solve their problems and be that expert in the software solution. Yeah, the pros are you're not a salesperson. Like this is not a sales job. And so you are a helper, you're a problem solver, you're a troubleshooter, you are an onboarder, a trainer, but you're not a salesperson, which is a pro. Cons, especially at the beginning, you might be dealing with a lot of people who are annoyed or unhappy because they are having a problem and they're looking for help to fix it. But it's ultimately like you will have the training and the skills to be able to solve their problems and they should leave happy. But I guess a small con is that, you have to deal with people who aren't necessarily coming to you because they're happy. Another con could be that it could, like, especially when you first start, if you're just like doing support, it could be a little bit tedious, maybe a little bit repetitive. Last con is the money is not going to be as good as sales, but you don't have to do sales. So little pro, little con. Last one is recruitment and talent acquisition. And again, we're gonna go through all of these in so much more depth. This is the super high level, super simplified overview. I'm gonna talk about career trajectories, career paths, not just what year one's gonna look like, but what like year 3, 5, 10 could look like for you. And so it's super important that you go and you watch the other videos in the series so that you can really make an educated decision for yourself. So recruitment, you are going to be going through applicants, reaching out to candidates, screening people for jobs, getting people excited about the role, about the company. You might be working with hiring managers, writing job descriptions, negotiating salaries, all that good stuff. This is where I've spent the majority of my career. And what really hooked me in about it is that it feels like you're really helping people and you're making a difference in their lives. And so you're helping somebody make more money so maybe they can take care of their family a little bit better, or you're helping somebody get a promotion. You're helping somebody who's maybe unemployed land a job. And so it can be the most, for me, when I was getting into it, I was like, this feels the most like I'm helping people. But also the nice thing about recruitment is there's a couple of different avenues in which you can pursue it, like a couple different, you can work for an agency, you can work for a tech company. And if you're somebody who's money motivated, but still wants to feel like they're helping people, recruitment can be a really good path for you. Kind of goes into the pros, feels like you're making things happen for people. Cons, depending, again, I feel like the con for all of these is at the end of the day, if you're not in tech sales, you're not going to be making as much money as tech sales people. But again, if you're not 100% money motivated, it doesn't necessarily matter because you still can be making $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 a year in these jobs in just a couple of years. That is the first summary video. I strongly recommend you click on the other videos below so that you can get the in-depth breakdown of what each of these jobs looks like, what each of these career paths looks like, and yeah, really be able to decide for yourself if there's one that sticks out to you. Maybe you're like, I'm interested in all of them. Doesn't matter, but this is 100% a resource for people who want to get into tech. First step of being able to get into those types of roles is understanding what they are, understanding what your future could look like. And yeah, hope to see you in the next video.